January 9th. Order the meeting of the Olivos CSD Grants Subcommittee.
Mr. Palmer.
Here.
Director Barron.
Here.
All right.
And next is public comment. Any member of the public person to address the committee on item 5.
No one online.
We'll move on to item 4, consent agenda.
Discuss.
Oh, yeah.
Public comment on the minutes of the public meeting. Hearing none. I second that. Favor. Aye. Consent. Item 5, discussion related to the word request in the amount of 22 cents.
Yeah, so there's, let me, for the record and everything else. So on Friday, about 2 o'clock, I think it was, as I'm driving to vacation, got a call saying, hey, are you guys going to submit anything from WRDA? It turns out that Target Carver Hall's office has a new person. Anything that she just moved from DC back to the Santa Barbara office, and the person who we're used to was no longer there. So that might have been part of the mix-up as to why we were informed in a more timely manner. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And she said, well, we're due Tuesday. And I said, well, I don't have authority on my own to do this, but let me see if I can put together a couple of, in this case, the two of you as the grants committee who can authorize me for the entire resolution to submit things, and then the process would be I'd take it to the next regular meeting for ratification. I checked with council to make sure, yes, we're good. While technically these meetings are special meetings, they're not really 72 hours. It was noticed more than 72 hours in accordance with the regular meeting schedule of the Brown Act. And so in the process of rushing to get an agenda together, I chose, there's nothing magical about a number that is basically half of the construction amount. We could ask for more, we could ask for less. And so it's really just the same process we went through that yielded us being approved for $4 million, but there was never any funding for the $4 million with the last round. So there's no appropriation. So really, that's what this is about. You guys can tell me, don't do it. You can tell me, do it for 22.65, which again, I just came up with half the amount. Or you can change the number. I suppose you could, if you really wanted to say, no, do something a little different, whatever you'd like to do. From a timing perspective, I would just remind you that, this is the fiscal year is over, right? Assuming we can find the money to do planning by the time this other gets authorized and appropriated, we should be done with design, at least 90%. So I don't think it makes sense to go after design dollars. It doesn't mean we can't. So that's kind of the background and what brought us here on a holiday Monday at 4 o'clock. It feels like summer.
Yeah.
Okay. We might open it public comment now.
Well, I think I've been involved with WRDA before, and it is a longer process. So construction dollars does make sense, and I think getting our project in there now, recognizing the construction is still a couple years off. I think it's good. I like the idea of half of what our estimate is right now. You can always amend those on future WRDA. And I think even I think the congressman, once he has the item, I think maybe he's even able to amend it at our request. I'm not sure about that, but this makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't think expecting more than that is realistic by any means. But I like just getting this in the WRDA bill. Then we can see what happens after that. So I'll be ready to support this.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we got one last year. I think that continuing to apply keeps our options open. think half is reasonable, unless there's some guidance one way or the other.
Yeah, they can't give you guidance because that would, they can't do that. But I did take a quick kind of mental lap through things that I've seen before for a non-DAC like us getting full funding from WRDA, pretty unlikely an amount. We have to just admit for some higher amounts for DAC.
Well, I think half is reasonable. And if this is a construction versus planning grant with contingency, so in other words, if this were to be funded for some reason prior to construction, we knew that time. Or we could not.
My experience is if we said, hey, we need, $70,000 or even $150,000, they'd probably say, yeah, okay, because that's part of reconstruction.
I think the other problem with getting any part of the construction, you talk to the Corps and their first need is that they would do the work, planning it. We're on, where we passed it, because that could be years down the road. And we're not.
And I might add, I think two of you heard me say this aloud, and I would say it on record here as well. My experience with those books, they ended up with $10 million debt before we even entered the door. But if we had 22.5 sitting in construction dollars, and we needed 500,000 to get through the design, that would be a scenario where I'd say, if we do want to consider a $500,000 loan from the county or someone else, finish that design, get it done, get the 22.5 in construction, right?
Because
we'll trade off.
Yeah.
It's something that I would push against normally, but that's a scenario I'd say, hey, this might actually make sense.
So, does this need action?
Yeah, I think so. Let me take a shot at a motion if I could. So I'll make a motion that we authorize the general manager to meet this deadline and put in a WRDA project grant amount of 22,650,000, and then to put that on our next regular agenda of the board of groups.
If that's sufficient. Just, if you don't mind, just roll call real quick.
Sure.
Director Darian, Director Gomer. It's a big number.
Sure.
Sorry, probably voice would have been sufficient, but I'm not 100%.
Okay. All right. Good. And thank you. Thank you, General Manager. That was correct.
Meeting scramble. Thank you guys.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they called you.
The next item on the agenda is just a standing item. I will say that have done some scouring based on Director Darian and I met with the county last Thursday. About what I expected. I didn't expect them to say, yeah, we've got money for you. But I did do based on one of the assistant CEOs suggestion. I did look at ARWM funds. They do say they have planning, and I sent them a message. So I didn't see any way to get planning funds from them. And if you're seeing them get planning funds, but hey, if they can give them, great. We'll see if I can get some planning funds. But I'll be able to get that back on the regular schedule as opposed to jamming it in like we had to with this one, unless they had a deadline in January 31st or something. The hope there is get 1.5 million in that position, which we're trying everywhere we can to get planning dollars, or get a portion of it there and a portion of it here and a portion of it.
Is it worth they have to regular monthly meeting?
I could do that.
So, any other, who else is in waiting?
Mona, Wade Martin, doing on the
Yes.
just yesterday. Okay, there you go.
So I think she mentioned.
No.
We were checking because Tom has known a long time, and he asked her, and she just said, "Hey,
Oh,
no,
basically. Oh, no.
I don't know, just go."
July or
It's still on. Well, and I know position of her position, you know, the county one, they unveiled, and she's not gonna tell the guy or the
Yeah, no, I can.
high statute, that's it.
And then, so any follow-up for this committee or committee member? Did you discuss the PRT?
So I did this part of follow-up, sent an email just saying, hey, you know, Ellen Foodman's program, I think it would have called. But, you know, that's intended to help visitors serving the community. Shared with them a few numbers, which is now from just under 500,000 to 2.7 projected for the current fiscal year. And said, you know, even just half of that would get us some of the funds we need. I don't know if I've heard back. It was kind of a Friday email and like I left. I did anything. So.
The supervisor has
Her offices.
I'll just mention that, at an event, probably a year ago, I saw Supervisor Bob Nelson and just talked briefly, and he kind of mentioned that, you know, if there was anything to contact him. So I go to Santa Maria. I frequently, probably all do, but I may just see if I can stumble across his office one day and just talk to him about this, because he has been over supportive of this.
Yeah, and I saw him at another event Thursday night. It was about issues in this, but you know, he's very empathetic to unincorporated areas getting there. And the services they need, so.
And infrastructure has a nice
Yeah.
infrastructure. So I'll just take that opportunity to try to see them.
Yes.
See what's up.
Okay. Anything else?
Just wanted to do some public comments. If there is anybody I don't want there to be.
Yeah.
I was thinking anything else.
Oh, sorry.
Something like that.
No, except for we're trying to follow up with a date for the senator's office staff. So that's forthcoming. So senator,
Yeah. That did not have a change. I've never heard this project. So, what the only other comment are we? Guess anything else on discuss with the elected control and what about outreach?
I talked to them to tell them what we're up to, and they saw it in their little queue that our planning grant request was in there. I followed up with you.
No, I just like how do we facilitate action, positive action and affirmative?
In talking to them, they said the state usually calls them, okay, later, when the state gets to the point where they're, okay, you know, we're ready to find out what the locals know about this. We check.
you know, one thing we could do, Guy, is when we met with Mona, I asked her, you know, we were thinking about things that the county could do to help us. They do have a lobby for individuals. And so now that our application is in, perhaps we could make an official request of their. God, you remember the firm that they said it escapes me. I hadn't heard of it before, but that doesn't. So I mean, I think just ask them to ask their ask that firm to contact the state board and urge the express the urgency for this. So I can do that. I will do that.
I'm wondering, thinking about Irwin and Jane Gray's role with Herman and the water board, but we're kind of defer to these updates where we are, maybe a little more holistically than just asking us to do more, just to, cover our base.
I don't think giving anyone a call is a bad idea, so maybe that would be something that you would do, and I'll do the ones that I talked about, and I know Guy has got his fingers on the buttons of a lot of these things, so.
Right. Is there a spreadsheet or where we can create various grants? I have to wait for you to get it.
Yeah.
I know. So, I mean, I'm happy to take on first. Part of it's for my own education too. Like I'm thinking about, like we discussed, how do we keep track of the dollars that we're eligible for, the planning dollars that we could potentially identify for construction prior to the 2018 vote, and funds for construction goes for revised. So I just think something to be able to share with the board and the public to see what we have. Unless you have something else here, unless we go into the rest.
Yeah, it's not unwieldy right now. That's for sure. But the struggle, understand where you're coming from, and understand what you're looking for, getting through. Look, the management, that's just one more thing to manage.
Well, so
I worry about adding more to the staff and not having to time management.
where would I go to find the status of the various grant discussion?
So
Or just who we send them to, the amount.
yeah, I mean, I can put that together really quickly. That's not a big deal. I was thinking about it's a funnel, right? And there's the ones that you applied for, and there's all the ones out there. Are you trying to track all the ones that are out there? Because if you are, that's a big deal. That's why I was
I think
hesitating.
it's just what we have in play.
Okay.
And even when people talk about like we're in Facebook, it's just more.
Now you're talking about this.
Let's start. Again, I'm not looking for busy work. I'm looking for how do we have a snapshot of what we've got underway and broken the amount.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think where we're at right now, we've got the WRDA, we got the state grant, we got working with the assemblyman on potential appropriation, and then Irwin, and that's it. Well, yeah, okay, the county,
Which would be DHS or DOT.
and that's 5 right there, and that's really to me that's the 5 that we're actively working on, and
Exactly. I'm just, again, sharing with the board and public where we are. I'm trying to make sure we have turned over every lot going through. Doesn't mean the spreadsheet means we turn over the.
Yeah.
Any other subcommittee members?
We didn't put the number. I didn't change. There's nobody online. We still need to get online.
no comments other than what we just talked about. Aye.